The massive war room glowed with blue light as holographic star maps floated above the council table. Commander Vexter stood tall, his forearms crossed behind his back as he watched the displays. 47 conquered systems blinked red on the map. Each one represented another victory for the Zytherian Empire. The doors slid open. An old creature walked into the room slowly. His name was Kelrath, and he belonged to a race called the Archivists. They were known across the galaxy as record keepers. They remembered everything. They warned everyone. But few ever listened. Commander Vexter, Kelrath said, his voice tired and sad. I must speak with you about your next target. Vexter turned. His eyes narrowed. The humans? What about them? Do not attack them, Kelrath said simply. Please. I have seen this before. General Corvin laughed from his seat. He was Vexter's second in command, cruel and ambitious. An old keeper of books wants to tell us how to wage war? How amusing. Kelrath ignored the insult. He raised one thin arm and activated a small device. Images filled the air around them. Scenes from a blue and green planet called Earth. The council watched. They saw humans fighting each other throughout their history. Wars that lasted years. Battles that killed millions. But what caught their attention was something else. They saw humans chase their enemies across vast distances. They saw humans wait decades for revenge. They saw humans refuse to quit even when they were dying. This is their nature, Kelrath explained. Every species in the galaxy fights to win. Humans fight because they cannot stop. Once you hurt them, truly hurt them, they will never forget. Never forgive. They will hunt you until one of you is gone. Subcommander Telvik studied the images. But our intelligence reports say they only have 12 colony worlds. Their military is small. Most of them are farmers and traders. Yes, Kelrath said. That is what makes this so dangerous. They are not warriors by choice. They are survivors by nature. You are planning to attack New Haven, correct? Their agricultural colony? Vexter's silence was his answer. 340,000 civilians live there, Kelrath continued. Families, children, people who grow food and live simple lives. If you attack them, you will not break human will. You will awaken something terrible. Corvin stood up, angry now. We have destroyed empires. We have fleets that darken the skies of entire worlds. What can these primitives do to us? Kelrath looked at him with ancient, sad eyes. You think of war as conquest. Humans think of it as survival. There is a difference. When you conquer, you can stop when you win. When you survive, you only stop when the threat is completely gone. He pulled up more data. 50 years ago, a species called the Vraken attacked a human science station. They killed 200 scientists. The humans spent 30 years hunting every single Vraken world. The Vraken tried to surrender 5 times. The humans refused every time. Today there are no Vraken left. The room grew quiet. You don't understand, Kelrath said softly. I am not warning you about their military. I am warning you about their memory. Attack New Haven, kill those innocent people, and humanity will not negotiate. They will not accept peace. They will not rest. You will become their mission. Their only mission. And they will pursue it with a patience that will outlast your empire. Vexter walked to the window overlooking his fleet. Thousands of ships waited in formation. We are stronger. We have better weapons. Better ships. The Vraken said the same thing, Kelrath replied. So did the others. The council took their vote. 12 members. 12 votes for invasion. Kelrath gathered his things slowly. Then I will record what happens next. The galaxy will learn from your mistake. I only hope some of you live long enough to understand why you were warned. He walked to the door, then paused. Commander, you are not starting a war. You are becoming prey. 3 days later, the Zytherian fleet jumped toward New Haven. The morning sun rose over New Haven like every other morning. Farmers walked to their fields. Children played in the streets. The colony had been peaceful for 15 years. Nobody expected what came next. The sky darkened at noon. Not with clouds but with ships. Hundreds of them. Zytherian warships dropped from orbit like falling stars. They did not send a message. They did not demand surrender. They simply began firing. Minji was teaching her class when the first explosion hit. 20 children sat at their desks, learning about Earth's oceans. The building shook. Minji ran to the window and saw fire spreading across the colony center. She grabbed the emergency alarm and pulled it. Everyone to the shelters, she screamed. Now. But there were no shelters deep enough. The Zytherians had chosen their weapons carefully. The blast went through buildings, through ground, through everything. Minji held her students close as the ceiling fell. She thought of her sister back on Earth. She hoped someone would tell her what happened. Across the colony, Doyen was working in the agricultural center. He grew wheat that fed 3 other colonies. He had never held a weapon in his life. When the ships came, he tried to help others escape. He carried an old woman toward the transport station. The building exploded before they reached it. Doyen's last thought was of his daughter's birthday next week. He had already bought her present. The attack lasted 4 hours. The Zytherians were thorough. They destroyed every building, every farm, every ship. They wanted to send a message to humanity. They wanted to show their power. Hyunwoo was a cargo ship pilot. He had just delivered supplies when the attack began. His ship was old and slow, but it was far from the main colony. He watched in horror as his home burned. He tried to call for help, but communications were jammed. He made a choice. He flew low, dodging Zytherian fighters, and landed near the emergency bunker. 23 people made it to his ship. 23 out of 340,000. A teacher named Sora. A doctor named Juno. A little girl named Hannah who could not stop crying. They were burned. They were broken. But they were alive. Hyunwoo pushed his engines beyond their limits. The ship shook and screamed, but it jumped to faster-than-light speed. Behind them, New Haven died. The Zytherians broadcast their victory across their empire. They showed the burning colony. They showed their mighty fleet. General Corvin stood before cameras and declared, "This is what happens to those who stand before the Zytherian Empire. Let the humans learn their place." The message reached Earth 3 days later. Jisoo was a council member in the United Earth government. She watched the broadcast in silence. Around her, other leaders stood frozen. They watched the smoke. They watched the bodies. They watched everything they had built on New Haven turn to ash. Someone started crying. Someone else slammed their fist on the table. But Jisoo felt something different. Something cold. Something that scared her because she had never felt it before. "How many?" she asked quietly. 340,000, an aide whispered. 23 survivors. The room erupted. People shouted for immediate war. For revenge. For blood. But Jisoo raised her hand. The room slowly quieted. "We will not act in anger," she said. Her voice was steady now. "Come. We will act with purpose. Contact every colony. Every ship. Every military base. Begin total mobilization. Not for defense. For war." "What do we tell them?" someone asked. Jisoo looked at the screen showing New Haven's ruins. She thought of Minji and Doyen and all the others. She thought of the children who would never grow up. The farmers who would never see another harvest. "Tell them we are coming," she said. "Tell the Zytherians we are coming. And we will not stop. Not ever." That night, Earth's news broadcast a simple message. No speeches. No threats. Just 340,000 names scrolling down the screen. And at the end, 2 words, "We remember." 6 months after New Haven, the first human fleet appeared at a Zytherian mining outpost. It was a small place, only 2,000 workers. The attack came without warning. Human ships moved differently than Zytherian commanders expected. They were faster. More aggressive. They did not retreat when damaged. The outpost fell in 20 minutes. But the humans did something strange. They left one Zytherian alive. His name was Vokrin, a supply officer. The humans put him in an escape pod with one message. "Tell your people we are coming. Tell them we remember New Haven." Vokrin arrived at the nearest Zytherian base 3 days later. He could not stop shaking. "They knew everything," he told his commanders. "They knew our shift changes, our weak points, our escape routes. It was like they had studied us for years." General Corvin dismissed the report. One lucky strike. Nothing more. But the attacks continued. A fuel depot destroyed. A communications relay captured. A transport convoy ambushed. Each time the humans left one survivor. Each time the same message. Commander Vexter began to feel something he had not felt in decades. Doubt. 8 months after New Haven, the Battle of Crix Nebula changed everything. A human frigate named the Defender faced a Zytherian dreadnought 3 times its size. The dreadnought's captain, Zelvik, expected an easy victory. The humans should have run. Instead, the Defender charged straight at them. "They are retreating," Zelvik said. "They must be." But the Defender did not slow down. It accelerated. Faster and faster. Zelvik realized too late what was happening. "Evasive maneuvers," he screamed. The Defender hit the dreadnought at faster-than-light speed. Both ships vanished in a ball of white fire. 3,000 Zytherians died. 200 humans died. But the humans had made their point. They would trade lives. They would sacrifice everything. Just to hurt their enemy. The galaxy watched in shock. No species fought like this. No species chose mutual destruction over retreat. Taijun commanded a human special forces team called the Reapers. His job was simple. Go deep into Zytherian space. Learn everything. Report back. He and his team of 12 moved like ghosts. They spoke the Zytherian language. They wore captured armor. They walked among the enemy unseen. In one mission, Taijun's team infiltrated a Zytherian military academy. They did not sabotage anything. They did not kill anyone. They simply recorded everything. Class schedules. Training methods. Cultural practices. Even what the young soldiers feared. Why do we need this? One of his team members asked. Her name was Yunji, a communications expert. Because we need to understand them completely, Taijun replied. Not just how they fight, but how they think, what they love, what they fear. We need to know everything. Back on Earth, intelligence officers studied every piece of data the Reapers sent. They learned that Zytherians valued honor above all. They learned about Zytherian families, their traditions, their holidays, and then the humans began psychological warfare. Before every battle, human ships broadcast the names of New Haven's dead. Every single name. 340,000 names took hours to read. Zytherian soldiers had to listen to it. Over and over. Children's names. Teachers' names. Farmers' names. Some Zytherian soldiers began to break. They had been told the attack was necessary. That New Haven was a military target. But the names told a different story. 1 year after New Haven, Ambassador Kelrath sent another message to Commander Vexther. You still do not understand, the message said. They are not fighting a war. They are conducting an extermination. Every attack you make, they learn from. Every soldier you lose, they study. They are turning your own nature against you. And they will never stop. Vexther tried to send peace negotiations. The humans refused to even read them. They sent back a simple response, a picture of New Haven burning. In the Zytherian capital, politicians began to panic. Colonies on the outer rim reported human ships watching them. Not attacking. Just watching. Waiting. Learning. What do they want? Subcommander Telvik asked during an emergency council meeting. Vexther looked at the star map. Red zones marked where humans had struck. The zones were growing. Spreading like a disease toward the Zytherian homeworld. They want us gone, he said quietly. All of us. 2 years after New Haven, the Zytherian Empire was bleeding. 18 colonies had fallen. Not occupied. Destroyed. The humans did not want territory. They wanted punishment. Miho stood on the bridge of the warship Remembrance. He was an admiral now, promoted after leading 5 successful strikes. His ship's hull was painted with names. 340,000 names covered every surface. When enemies saw his ship, they saw New Haven's dead. Admiral, we have 3 Zytherian cruisers ahead, his tactical officer reported. Her name was Yuna, and she had lost her parents on New Haven. Show them the list, Miho said calmly. The Remembrance broadcast the names. Every name. The Zytherian ships tried to jam the signal, but human technology had improved. The names kept coming. Hours of names. The Zytherian captains could not block it out. 2 of the 3 ships surrendered without fighting. The third tried to run. It did not escape. On Earth, massive factories worked day and night. Robots built ships. Cloning facilities grew replacement soldiers. Every human colony sent resources. Money meant nothing anymore. Only the mission mattered. Scientist Seo Jun stood in a weapons research lab. He had created something new. A missile that could track Zytherian engine signatures across 3 star systems. It never stopped hunting until it found its target. Is this not too much? His assistant asked nervously. Seo Jun looked at a picture on his desk. His brother had been a farmer on New Haven. Too much would be impossible, he said. We are only doing what is necessary. The Zytherian outer territories began to collapse. Planets that had sworn loyalty to the Empire now begged to surrender to the humans. But the humans had one condition. Give us Vexther and Corvin. Give us those who ordered the attack. Most Zytherian worlds refused at first. But as human fleets arrived at their doorsteps, they changed their minds. One by one they turned against their own leaders. Commander Vexther sat in his command center, watching his empire crumble. Reports flooded in. Another colony lost. Another fleet destroyed. Another world surrendering. General Corvin stood beside him, no longer laughing. We should have listened, Corvin whispered. It is too late for that, Vexter replied. A transmission came through. It was from Ambassador Calrath. I warned you, the old archivist said. The galaxy is watching. They are learning what happens when you harm human innocents. Already, 3 other species have withdrawn their threats against human colonies. They saw what you unleashed. Vexter turned off the transmission. He did not need to hear more. On the Zytherian homeworld, protests erupted. Citizens demanded an end to the war. They marched through streets carrying signs. Give them Vexter. We did not ask for this. Save our children. Kyung-min led a human blockade around the Zytherian homeworld. She commanded 20 ships. They did not fire on the planet. They simply waited. No ships in. No ships out. The planet was a prison. Why do we not just attack? A young officer asked her. Because they need to suffer like New Haven suffered, Kyung-min explained. New Haven died in 4 hours. The Zytherian Empire will die slowly. They will watch everything they built fall apart. They will know it is coming. Just like our people knew on New Haven. Every day human ships broadcast across all Zytherian frequencies. The same message repeated endlessly. New Haven remembers. We remember. We will always remember. Zytherian children heard it in their sleep. Zytherian soldiers heard it before battle. It became like a heartbeat. Constant. Unchanging. Terrifying. 3 years after New Haven, the Zytherian government fractured. Corvin was assassinated by his own officers. They sent his body to the humans as a peace offering. The humans sent it back. We do not want bodies, the human message said. We want Vexter. Alive. Vexter knew his time was ending. His own people would hand him over soon. He looked at intelligence reports about human losses. The humans had lost millions of soldiers. Thousands of ships. But they kept coming. Always coming. He finally understood what Calrath had tried to tell him. Humans did not fight to win. They fought because stopping was impossible. New Haven had changed them into something the galaxy had never seen. Hunters that would never stop hunting. 10 years after New Haven, Commander Vexter stood in chains. But he was not on a Zytherian world. He stood on New Haven itself. The humans had rebuilt one structure on the dead colony. A memorial. Black stone walls stretched toward the sky, carved with 340,000 names. The names glowed with soft light that never faded. Around the memorial, the rest of New Haven remained untouched. Burned buildings. Scorched fields. A reminder of what happened. Sora stood before Vexter. She had been a teacher who escaped that day. Now her hair was gray, but her eyes were sharp. 22 other survivors sat behind her. These were the voices Vexter would hear. You will live here, Sora said quietly. In a cell beneath this memorial. Every day you will hear recordings from New Haven. The last messages people sent. The screams. The final words. You will hear all of it. Every single day. For the rest of your life. Vexter said nothing. What could he say? His empire was gone. His people scattered across the galaxy. The Zytherian homeworld was a quarantine zone now, watched by human ships that never left. Juno, the doctor who survived, spoke next. We wanted to kill you. Every one of us wanted that. But death is too quick. Too easy. You need to remember. Just like we remember. They led Vexter to his cell. It was clean. He had food. Water. Medical care. But speakers lined the walls. As the door closed, the recordings began. A child's voice. Mommy, why is the sky on fire? A man's voice. Tell my son I love him. Tell him. An explosion. Then silence. Then another voice. Vexter sat down. The voices would play for 16 hours every day. The same recordings. The same people. The same deaths. Forever. Above ground, Admiral Miho stood at attention as a new monument was unveiled. It showed a mother holding her child, looking up at the sky. The inscription read, They came in peace. They lived in peace. They died because someone forgot that peace is precious. Across the galaxy, Ambassador Calrath addressed the Galactic Council. Every species sent representatives. They all wanted to understand what had happened. Let me be clear, Calrath said, his old voice carrying through the chamber. Humanity did not want this war. They are farmers, scientists, artists, families. But you made them remember why their history is written in survival. He activated a holographic display showing the Zytherian Empire's fall. In 10 years, humanity dismantled an empire that had stood for 3 centuries. They did not do it with superior technology. They did it with something more dangerous. Memory, purpose, and patience. A representative from the Korvax species stood. Should we fear them? No, Kelrath replied. You should respect them. Trade with them. Be their friends. They are capable of great kindness. But never, ever harm their innocent. Because they will teach you the same lesson they taught the Zytherians. On Earth, Jisoo stood before new military recruits. She was old now, ready to retire. But she had one final duty. Every soldier had to visit New Haven before they graduated. Look at these names, she told them, her hand touching the memorial wall. Remember why we fought. Not for glory. Not for conquest. We fought because someone thought our people were weak. Thought we would forget. Thought we would forgive. A young recruit named Minsik raised his hand. Ma'am, the war is over. Why do we still train so hard? Jisoo smiled sadly. Because the galaxy is watching. They learned from the Zytherians' mistake. But memories fade. In 100 years, some species might forget. Might think humans have gone soft. We train so that if that day comes, we are ready. Always ready. Far across space, a new species called the Drethik sent a threatening message to a human mining colony. They demanded the humans leave or face attack. The human response was immediate. 2 words and an attached file. New Haven. The file contained the complete history of the Zytherian War. Every battle. Every loss. Every name. The Drethik read it in silence. Their fleet turned around within the hour. Their leader sent an apology and a request for a trade agreement instead. Ambassador Kelrath updated his archives one final time. In the section about humanity, he added a final note in red letters. They will be your greatest friends or your eternal hunters. The choice is yours. Choose wisely.